Gilded Cage. Maya's life was a tale of two cities contained within one. By day, she was a data analyst in a sterile Austin tech office, translating human creativity into cold, hard code. By night, she was in her tiny apartment, where the only color came from the worn wood of her guitar. She'd try to write songs, but the lyrics would get lost under the weight of the spreadsheet that was always open on her laptop, a detailed, terrifying account of her mother's medical bills. Her phone buzzed. It was a text from her mom, featuring a picture of their golden retriever. "Leo misses you," it read, followed by a string of heart emojis. A wave of love and guilt washed over Maya. Every keystroke at her soul-crushing job, every dream she deferred, was for that woman. She texted back, "Miss you more. Kisses to the pup," forcing a cheerfulness she couldn't feel. The opportunity came disguised as a chore, a last-minute request from her temp agency to help staff a gala for Viridian Dynamics, one of the city's tech giants. The extra pay was too good to refuse. Standing by a champagne fountain in a borrowed dress, Maya felt like an imposter, a ghost observing a world of effortless wealth she could never inhabit. That's when she met Julian Vance. He wasn't networking. He was standing alone by a floor-to-ceiling window, looking out at the city lights as if they bored him. He turned, and his smile wasn't the practiced grin of the other executives. It was tired, but genuine. "Hiding from the small talk?" he asked. "You could say that," Maya replied, and for the first time all night, she felt her own smile return. He was the heir to the Viridian Empire, but he spoke of it like a prison. He was more interested in her life, her music. He listened with an intensity that made her feel like the only person in the room. When the night ended, he didn't ask for her number with a slick line. He simply said, "I'd really like to see you again, Maya." Their first date wasn't a five-star restaurant. He took her to a tiny dive bar blues club where the floor was sticky and the music was real. In the middle of a blistering guitar solo, he leaned over and whispered in her ear, "You could be up there." His belief in her was a forgotten melody she was starting to remember. The weeks that followed were a blur of deepening intimacy. He'd show up at her apartment with takeout, and she'd play him the songs she was writing, songs she hadn't shown anyone. He made her feel safe enough to dream again. She was falling, fast and hard, for the man, not the money. One afternoon, he took her to his family's estate in the hills outside the city. It was beautiful, but suffocatingly quiet. She met his father, a man with eyes like chips of ice who sized her up like a line item on a budget sheet. Julian held her hand under the long, formal dining table, a silent apology. Later, walking through the manicured gardens, Julian confessed the immense pressure he was under to take over the company. "I just want to build something real," he said, his voice low. "Not just acquire things." Maya believed him. She saw the good man trapped beneath the crushing weight of his last name. The call came from her dad. Her mom's condition had worsened. A new experimental drug was her best hope, but their insurance refused to cover it. The cost was a number so large it seemed fictional, a number that made Maya's world tilt on its axis. When Julian found her, she was crying, the hopeless figures of the medical bills still glowing on her laptop. Without a word, he pulled her into his arms. "I'll take care of it," he said, his voice firm. "Don't even think about the money. I've got you." The relief was so immense it felt like a physical weight lifting from her chest. She let him handle it, transferring the information for the pharmacy and the doctors. She was so consumed by gratitude and love that she ignored the small, nagging voice that whispered, "It's too easy." A few days later, she was waiting for him at his penthouse, planning to cook him dinner as a thank you. He was late, so she tidied up a stack of papers on his desk. A letterhead caught her eye. Althea Pharmaceuticals, It was the manufacturer of her mother's new drug. Her heart began to pound. A quick search on her phone confirmed her sickening fear. Viridian Dynamics had acquired Althea Pharmaceuticals 6 months ago. A second search brought up a business article detailing Viridian's aggressive new profit strategy, which included tripling the price of several life-saving drugs, including her mother's. The money he'd offered wasn't a gift. It was a refund. He was offering to pay her with the profits his family was making from her mother's illness. The intimacy, the connection, the love she felt, it was all built on a foundation of the most profound, calculated betrayal she could imagine. He walked in, smiling, holding a bouquet of flowers. The smile vanished when he saw her face. "Maya? What's wrong?" She held up the paper, her hand shaking. "Althea Pharmaceuticals," she said, her voice trembling with rage. You knew all along." He tried to explain. He was trapped, he hated it, he wanted to change things. He said he loved her, that helping her was his way of fighting back, of using his cursed money for good. "Don't you see?" he pleaded, his voice cracking. "We can be better than them, together." "What I see," she said, her voice dangerously calm, "is that you watched me cry over a debt that your family created. You let me believe you were my savior when you were part of the storm." She took off a small bracelet he had given her and placed it on the marble table. "I can't be bought." She walked out of his life and back into her own. The grief was a physical thing, but underneath it, something else was burning. Fury. She sat down with her guitar, and this time, the words didn't hesitate. They poured out of her, a torrent of pain, love, and righteous anger. She wrote a song called Gilded Cage. It was the story of a girl who fell in love with a prince, only to find out his castle was built on the bones of people like her. It was her story, raw and unfiltered. With trembling hands, she propped her phone up against a stack of books, hit record, and played. She didn't pretty it up. Her voice cracked, and a tear traced a path down her cheek, but she sang every single word. She posted the video online with no caption and turned off her phone. When she turned her phone back on the next day, her world had changed. The video had thousands of views, then tens of thousands. People were sharing it, commenting, telling their own stories of fighting insurance companies and predatory corporations. Her personal pain had struck a universal chord. An email appeared in her inbox with the subject line, Gilded Cage. It was from an independent music producer in Nashville. "Your voice needs to be heard," it said. "I can help you make it louder." She didn't know what would happen with her mother's bills. She didn't know if her heart would ever fully heal from Julian. But for the first time, she felt a sense of power that had nothing to do with money or a man. It was the power of her own voice, and it was priceless. She bought a one-way ticket to Nashville. As the bus pulled out of Austin, leaving the glittering skyline and its gilded cages behind, she didn't look back. She was driving toward an uncertain future, but it was a future she was writing herself, one true note at a time.